welcome back. I hope you're all feeling okay and keeping safe. It's time for a little bit more of our story today, so we're going to be reading chapter 10 of The Secret Dragon by Ed Clarke. Let's jump straight back in. Chapter 10. "This absolutely, positively has to remain a secret," said Mary. Dylan wasn't listening. He couldn't tear his eyes away from the tiny creature cowering in the corner of its box, caught in a sudden glare of attention. It's a dragon." "Technically," said Mary, "it's a gweaber." "A gweeby?" "A gweaber," corrected Mary. "It's Welsh for wyvern, a two-legged winged dragon." "It can't be real." Dylan reached out to touch it, but the gweaber flapped its wings and flew up to perch on an empty hanger, making it swing back and forth. "Does that look real enough?" Mary asked, as Dylan's eyes widened in awe. Can I hold it?" he asked. Mary shook her head. "I don't think it'll let you." "Does it have a name?" "Pterodraco jonathini." "Terry what now?" "It's the Latin name I've given it. Jonathan's dragon. After my dad." "I see." Mary braced herself for another question about him, but Dylan seemed to think better of it. "It's a bit formal, isn't it?" he continued. "Maybe he needs some kind of pet name." "I don't see why," replied Mary stiffly. "It's not a pet. It's a major scientific discovery. Nor, for that matter, do we know it's a he." "Well, he looks like a he to me. And I think that the gweaber needs a proper name," said Dylan. "In fact, why not Gweeb?" At that very moment, the dragon leapt off its perch, swooped out of the wardrobe and landed straight on Dylan's shoulder. Dylan gasped, then chuckled. "Well, there you go. That's settled then." Mary rolled her eyes. "He probably just thinks you've got food," she said, exasperated. "He's not recognising his name like some sort of puppy." "I think you underestimate him," said Dylan. "And you just called him he. Twice." Mary let out a sigh of frustration. "Fine," she said impatiently. "We can call him he for now, until we know for sure. But Gweeb, really? It sounds like a cartoon alien." "I think it's a perfectly good name for a tiny dragon who lives in a wardrobe. Don't you, Gweeb?" Gweeb nestled into Dylan's neck, which made Mary feel oddly jealous. "I think I need him back now," she said, reaching out a hand. "You're not putting him back in that plastic box, are you?" "Why not? What would you do with him?" Dylan laughed. "Well, you need help from a grown-up, obviously. You found the world's first ever real live dragon. We've got to tell someone." "I'm going to," said Mary. "Dr. Griffith. I've got his email address." "The dinosaur hunter off the telly? What's he going to do?" "We'll take the dragon to the Natural History Museum together, so I can make sure they name him after my dad." Dylan nearly spat out his cola. "Who do you think you are? David Attenborough? You're 11 years old. Just tell your mum and we'll all be on breakfast TV tomorrow. It'll be amazing." "I'm 12 in September, and you don't understand, Dylan. If we don't tell the right person, they'll take him away. It'll be, 'Thanks very much, little girl. We'll do all the important stuff from here. You've had your fun, now run along home.' This is the chance of a lifetime, Dylan, for me to change my life, to be the person that I want to be." "What do you mean?" Dylan frowned. "What's wrong with your life anyway?" "It's my chance to be a proper scientist," Mary explained. "To say, 'Here is my discovery, the Pterodraco jonathini.' So, let me get this straight," replied Dylan. "Your plan is to send Dr. Griff an email and say, 'Hello, I'm Mary, I'm 11 3/4 and I've discovered a dragon that I can fit in my pocket.' You think his first thought is going to be, 'Yes, I can trust her scientific opinion. I'd better get right over there and check it out.'" Now Dylan was saying it out loud. Even Mary realised that her plan was not brilliantly thought through, particularly as she'd not made the best impression on Dr. Griff that afternoon. What would Dad do in this situation? Her eyes fell on one of his scientific journals, and a plan began to form in her brain. "I'm not going to tell him how old I am," she announced suddenly. "I'm going to make a proper scientific study of Gweeb and send my findings to Dr. Griff to verify. I'll say I'm Dr. Mary Jones from the University of such and such, and then he'll have to take it seriously." Even though it was entirely off the cuff, Mary was quite pleased with her new scheme. What kind of scientific study? Asked Dylan. One like Mary Anning would have made, she told him. Drawings, observations, hypotheses. Her work won over the scientific community, even though she was a woman in a man's world. I'll do the same, but as a kid, in a grown-up world. Dylan nodded slowly. Okay. Okay? What do you mean, okay? Okay, I'll help you. Mary blinked. I wasn't asking for your help. No, but you need it. No, I don't. Gweeb is my dragon. I'm doing this on my own. Only if I don't tell anyone. Mary spluttered with indignation. But I can really help you, Mary. You might know everything about fossilised animals, but I know about living ones. I can learn all that stuff, Mary protested. I've got books. That's why you're keeping a cold-blooded animal in an ice cream tub in a chilly, dark wardrobe, is it? I was in a rush. Dylan raised his eyebrows. All right, Mary conceded. You can help, but remember, you don't need this like I need this. You're my assistant, not my partner. Dylan shrugged. Whatever. So, now what? I thought I was your assistant. Shouldn't you be telling me? Mary threw back her head in exasperation. Why did the only other person in the world who knew her secret have to be so infuriating? I would value your advice, she said through gritted teeth. Well, said Dylan, first of all we have to make sure the animal is fed and watered. What does he eat? Mary had to admit that this hadn't even crossed her mind yet. Well, she had to admit it to herself at least. I don't know yet, she stammered. He likes milk, but he's a reptile, not a mammal, said Dylan. I wouldn't be feeding that if I were you. Mary gulped. Dylan didn't know the half of it. Whatever, he went on. You really can't keep him in a wardrobe. If he's like other reptiles, he'll need a terrarium. A what? Dylan reached up very slowly to lift Gweeb down from off of his shoulder, making sure to hold his wings tight against his body. A terrarium, a glass box to put reptiles in. They've got heat lamps at the top. They're cold-blooded, so they need artificial warmth. Dylan carefully turned Gweeb over in his hands, fascinated. He really is incredible. Part lizard, part bat, part bird. Gweeb didn't seem to care for Dylan's inspection, though. His emerald green eyes sparkled as he swiped at Dylan's hand with one of his talons. Ah! Dylan yelled, letting go. Gweeb hit the carpet with a thud, but before Mary could gather him up, he darted into the air and out through the bedroom door. Quick! She cried. They dashed after him, giving chase down the stairs and into the living room, but Gweeb was nowhere to be seen. Then Mary noticed a curtain, slightly blowing in the breeze. There was a small window open in the corner of the room. She closed her eyes in disbelief. I told you not to let him out, she said. He was doing just fine in the wardrobe. Dylan looked chastened. He licked a bead of blood from his finger. I didn't realise his claws were so sharp. Mary was unimpressed. I thought you knew all about animals. Well, I'm hazier on the mythical ones, Dylan shot back. Well, we better start learning fast, said Mary. If we haven't already lost him, that is. Suddenly, from somewhere outside, a cow bellowed out in pain. Oh no, said Mary, turning pale. What is it? Milk! Mary bolted for the back door and pelted out into the night with Dylan right behind her. They rounded a corner and careered into an open cowshed. Mary flipped a light switch to reveal the cow laying in the hay, its udder beginning to swell unnaturally. Mary knelt down next to it. There was no doubt what the issue was. Gweeb had bitten him. Where is he? Asked Mary, looking around. Up there. Dylan was pointing up into the rafters of the barn. Mary followed his finger but could see nothing but shadows. That is, until a pair of headlights approaching up the track illuminated the ruby-red body of Gweeb, perched high up on a crossbeam. For a dragon, he was looking very sheepish. Mary turned round to see the bright yellow car crackling up the stony farm track and glanced at Dylan in dismay. Their parents were back. Oh my goodness, so it sounds like Dylan and Mary are in trouble. Gweeb is all the way up at the top of the barn and their parents are home. How are they going to fix this one? we'll have to find out next time. I'll see you then. Bye bye.